game of the day, and it's a spicy one. Eintracht Spandau up against Vitality B. These are two massive teams. Both grabbed themselves a win in their first matches in the tournament. Eintracht Spandau, let's start with them. They came in, new organization, a lot of old heads in the team, though, looking very dominant.
Yeah, I think there's lots of names that you'll remember, right? Special and Obsessed sitting there, both been in the LEC before, will probably are trying to make their way back into it. And both players who made their mark initially at the European Masters as well. Special with BTXL back in that day. Obsessed as well, winning the entire tournament. And then as well, Pride, who was called on Fnatic Rising just last year when they were taking K-Corp to that best of 5. Kinetic and Prime still also great bot lane to pair it all up with. But from my point of view, I'm always looking on that top side of the map with the noticeable names.
Yeah, the names where you look at them and go, oh, I've heard of that person. They played in the top league at some stage. And we've got a lot of that here at the Amazon European Masters this split. So plenty of talented players, both old and new, coming forward and being able to do so well in the Prime League, a very, very competitive league, is always going to be a great side moving into this tournament. But on the other side, we've got Vitality B, of course. You'll know and love them, as they've got some huge names on their roster as well. I'm looking at Shagenda in the top side, Yeskler, of course, and Jack Troll at support.
And that is the storyline as well for today's game, because you are looking at veteran players who want to make it back into the LEC. They're not here to be tested. They're here to show that they're better than everyone else. I think Sigenda specifically in the first matchup against Sindivak and against the Go Rogue completely shut him out of lane. I think Sigenda still very much have what it takes to become one of our premier top laners, and he's not a guy that you can mess around with. Then you have Diplix at the mid lane, who's the most people probably going to be the most unnoticeable one. But already 2 years ago, people were mentioning this guy, and they're talking about, oh, he's going to be the next LEC prospect. I'll tell you what, 2 years ago, he was 16 years old. Now he's 18, and people are still mentioning there's still room for this guy to improve and continuously do so. Obviously, you have the stable bot lane as well of Jeskler and Jack Troll, who at times look great, and at times I feel like they just go a little bit even. There are definitely exploitable options, but my big star names is the top side of the map.
You just love the top side, don't you? Yeah, you heard it about Gorborg hates bot laners.
No, the thing is, I'm a bot main myself, right? But I generally just feel like that the jungle side of Upset versus Skeens is incredibly interesting to take a look at. I think Sigenda as well, it showed a great presence against the Go Rogue, and I hope that that's something he can continue, because when I was watching that game, I just kept wanting to hone in on him. I just kept thinking like he's completely taking over the game from the side lane on a Gwen in a matchup that was Gwen into On. So I really think either you decide to match him and let's say, all right, we'll put it in a carry versus carry position, or you go for that standard front to back that we've seen some teams default to as well.
And I mean, for Zenja, they just don't play tanks. It's not in their wheelhouse. They're like, no on duty for me. I'm not having that. So we'll have to see what they decide to put him on this game as we move into Champions Select, final time of the day. Eintracht Spandau on the blue side coming out of the Prime League. Vitality B coming out of the LFL. Both coming out with wins in day number 1. Leeson hitting the bench.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting as well for these like 3-pick and the 5-pick, because those are probably going to be the counter picks from Vitality coming through. Eintracht Spandau will have to come through with some blind picks. And Pride, back in the day, was known for a very good gangplank, but he's also been, he's also shown to not be afraid to still blind the Camille and still blind the Renekton. Like, this is in this guy's repertoire of champion pool. So I would not be afraid to let my expectation lay low a little bit and just prepare to be surprised for what these teams want to bring out.
Karma and J4 as well as LeBlanc are not going to be coming into this game. We still have like the Volibear and the Zeri still available. 2 very high priority picks on the current patch. We'll have to see if they're going to be the last 2 bans or if other things are going to be targeted. Of course, the Jinx is still very powerful. We haven't yet seen it in the games that we've been casting today. So interesting to see if that one makes its way through.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that people have skewered away from ever since the nerfs came down to it. She's still very good at taking priority on the first few lanes, but with the last bans coming through, it's going to be the Ahri and the Volibear being taken away, which just leaves open the AD carries that you talked about. It just leaves open the Sai as well. That's something we saw a lot of teams go for today. Not too sure of the efficiency of it yet, because I do feel like Miss Fortune is a good matchup into it, and it's a blunder of me not even realizing that Zeri has been left open, because I'm just so used to seeing it get banned.
You just automatically assume Zeri doesn't exist in League of Legends, but
apparently not.
Of course, in competitive. Somehow slips through it. It's going to be taken up by Kinetic in this game. Now Vitality B, they've got the opportunity to pick their marksman into this. They go with something like the Zarya, as you already mentioned, but there are other power picks in other positions. Of course, the Viego in the jungle, something that is seeing some play to and fro with Lee Sin and J4 out of the running. It is going to be the pickup for Skeets.
Yeah, I wonder what they have planned for this Seri though, because it's a conscious decision to let it go through. I think they might go for an AD carry pickup here, save the counter pick towards a support if that's what they want. Usually with Seri, you want to pair it up with an Enchanter, and for an Enchanter to come through, you kind of want to know the matchup you're picking it into, so you're not just going to get completely abused. So I do like the decision of Vitality to go for the Aphelios for Jeskla here. With the Gravitum as well, you do have moments where you can shut down the Seri if she's caught off guard and out of position.
We've seen a lot of solutions attempted by people into this Seri, but now it's a case of what is going to go alongside it. Are they going to go for that support pickup, something Enchant-y, something Engage-y, something that's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, Morgana being considered, but they're going to turn to the Nocturne instead.
I've been asking for this champion for so long. It's something that they started doing in Korea, and they've done it for a while now with the Stride Breaker to come through here in EU. We've just been a little slow on the adaptiveness of it. I just feel like it's great with the meta we have right now. It's front to back, but sometimes you can disrupt that meta if you go for something that's like very backline dive oriented. So I'm looking for Aatrox Spandau, and I'm looking for their picks now to complement this Nocturne, so he's not just diving in by himself.
Syndra is going to be alongside it, so they've picked up the mid lane and not gone for a support, so they're leaving their options open. Vitality B know what's going to be going mid, so could look for something safe into this one. Something like the Orianna springs to mind, the classic from a few patches ago, or could be looking at something else that is powerful. The Vex, of course, made its way through bans.
Yeah, and Vex, not something we see quite often, but Diplex was actually one of the few players in the mid lane who had 100% win rate on this. Usually we see Vex and we're like, okay, classic EU Vex, it's gonna go terrible. But Diplex have actually shown up on this pick, and that's why I also think it's very interesting to see a blind Syndra, because it leaves a lot of opportunities open for your enemy. You can then go for a composition that wants to outrange, right? Jace on 3 could have come down here as well. You still had a lot of mid laners that could come through with it. So a little bit greedy, but it is also, you know, comfort for special having this Syndra.
There'll be supports and top laners that are going to be focused. You've got to imagine with those being the two lanes open. Yuumi and Renata both taken off the table. That Renata ban could point towards a Nautilus potentially from Aatrox Spandau if they want to be grabbing that one, but Vitality B still have a ban and might consider taking that one off the table when they are likely to want to go for something more Enchanter-y, you've got to imagine.
I wonder if they don't ban Lulu here themselves, if that's something they want to 4th pick. And if they do ban Lulu here, then they might even wait to all the way to the 5th instead, just to get that, you know, counter pick for the support matchup, because that actually means a lot when you're playing up against a Seri. Top laners though, there's still a lot available. Like, not a single top laner has been picked just yet. So even if you blind pick a tank, there's still going to be the Jace, there's still going to be the Camille's to play for. And going into a scenario where Obsess gets to play around the Camille on side lane with the Nocturne might actually be a little bit of a dangerous moment. So let's see how these last picks will unfold, because that's going to be setting the stage for the teams.
I'm interested to see what Szygenda wants to go in this matchup, whether he wants to go for something. He doesn't really go tanks, but he plays stuff like the Graves and the Gnar, which are a little bit beefier up in the top lane, so could be looking in that kind of direction. Of course, also want to be picking up a support at some point, and it looks like they might be going in that direction. The Thresh is going to be put alongside. This is old school with the Aphelios.
It is very old school, and to me it just screams right now that you can pick Lulu up from the side of Pride. You don't have to match the Engage right now. You can bring the Engage to the top side. You can bring a guy who doesn't need a lot of resources for Prime. Stylistically speaking though, that isn't really what we've seen quite often from the side of Pride. He's usually a guy that likes being on the bruises. So I'm curious to see now if they're going to go for what's comfort for them, or if they're going to go for what could be stylistically better here. Seems like they're going to go towards the comfort. Wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to opt in for just blind pick Camille here. They can play on it on side as well with the Nocturne. The Engage has come through with the Nautilus into Thresh. So it's really just up to Pride now to find out what he wants as the blind pick into Szygenda.
But you could go something safe like the Gnar, the Ornn could be options for him if they want to get that little bit of extra engage, and it will be the Gnar that's going to be locked in. So now Vitality B have the opportunity to kind of go for a counter pick. Of course, Gnar, not the easiest champion to shut down, but there are options. Camille, the Aatrox even.
Yeah, well, there we have it. There's other engage options. I was going to say Aurelia, Akali is going to be the one that's coming through. And now you have a backline dive composition from the side of Vitality. You can kite back with Dieskla and Jacktroll on the Thresh to find that disengage. But really, it's going to be about the 3 carries diving forwards. Again, the Skeens Diplex on the engages here. There's a few disengage options with the Mega Gnar, with the Syndra Stun as well. But if you get caught off guard with a mini guard and with the Scatter of the Weak down, then Eintracht Spandau, they're going to be finding themselves with some problems. Vitality's speed composition, very much about the snowball.
They're going to be trying to control vision as much as possible, catch people out, catch people off guard, because as you say, if they get the engage in, it's going to be very, very painful for them. For Spandau, they've gone for something a little bit more traditional. The Nocturne, of course, leaping out as the surprise of their draft, but you can see kind of what they want to be doing.
Yeah, it's not a composition that does anything terrible. It's not a composition that does team fighting like 100% as well as it could have been. They are a very well-rounded team fight or a very well-rounded composition where you can play for the pick potential with the Syndra. You can also play towards the side lane on the Gnar later with the Nocturne, but you can also dive in a team fight together with the Gnar and with the Nocturne to single out a target, followed up by a Scatter of the Weak. So I just feel like they actually have a lot of tools in their kit to be versatile with the strategy in this game.
And if Nocturne can even trade 1v1 with a very high priority target like the Aphelios, who's not going to have too many options to escape, but does have the Thresh alongside to be considered, then things could get very, very interesting. Final game of the day here at the Amazon European Masters. We've got Eintracht Spandau on the blue side coming out of the Prime League. Vitality B on the red coming out of the LFL. Both teams have already picked up a win in these group stages. One of them will remain undefeated. Well, it's going to be an exciting matchup.
Oh, it definitely is, especially because in these best of one scenarios, in these scenarios where you're only allowed to meet each other twice, like that, finding that one victory is crucial every goddamn time. It feels so bad to have one best of one be the decider of it, but that is the reality of it. You have to show up on the day.
And just keeping our eyes, let's have a little talk about Nocturne. Mr. Goldberg, put on your Vedius cosplay. And we'll have a chat.
God, no. I'm not Nymera. If Nymera was here, it'd be perfect. He could do his best Vedius impression, and everyone in chat would be completely fooled.
But you can't. Well, that's fine. Talk to me about the Korean tech.
I don't have a Welsh accent. Okay. I'll give you the context of what we'll be seeing from Upside right now. What I'm expecting to see is definitely a Stride Breaker scenario, which is great because it was buffed not too long ago as well. Actually, it was quite a while ago now, after it was nerfed and then buffed. And it's just really good at the stickiness you get once you finally ult down towards them. You pop the Stride Breaker. The fear is pretty much secured. And if you're playing towards one of your teammates, you should have a kill. So you really looking to utilize these small skirmishes, vision control, catching people off guard while you have Prior in a lane so you can move around with that lane. But for the early game shenanigans, we won't really see too much because Skeens on the Viego will actually be a better dueler, better skirmisher. But once that 6 comes through, that's where you're looking to kind of cheat with the tempo because you get the range of the ultimate that you have on Nocturne.
Yeah, you can get around the map super easily, cut out vision, and make engagements happen. Of course, Diplex on the Vex, as we mentioned already, one of the players in Europe who likes the champion, and Europeans haven't loved Vex so far.
I mean, they did initially. They're like, it was everything was on when preseason came out, or not preseason, but the season started. The Asian League started before us. They started playing it a lot. They had some sort of success with it. Then we started doing it. We didn't have any success with it, and then we just kind of left it. So that's been the story of Vex so far.
Just sitting there going, this toy's broken, and then just throw it out of the pram.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I love a good Vex, a lot of damage coming through, able to control things exceptionally well in team fights. And when you got champions like Gnar and Nocturne that want to be bundling forward, the Nautilus too, Vex can really control the tempo of team fights.
Yeah, that's the thing though. She's really relying on hitting that ultimate and finding the kill with it, because if you're behind and you don't find it, well, it's over. Special might be found out here.
Gonna be stunned up as the Flash of Fatal might be looking to use it, but we'll go straight into a wall, and Skeens can look to run her down. First blood, Diplex on the Vex.
Just that easy. Special not ready for the initial stun. Should definitely have flashed that one. Skeens, he picked it up. And we talked about the snowball potential already. Diplex, he's on the board.
That's a great start here for Vitality B. Very, very quick 3 minutes for the first blood. And in the bot side, they've got all the pressure in the world as well, as Kinetic and Prime just going to be forced under their tower. Any fireworks expected in the bot lane, or is it just a farm fest?
I mean, you can definitely find some moments, yeah, where you even can hook the Nautilus in and try and trade when you have the correct guns on Jeskla. But from the side of Seri, what you usually want is just get out of laning phase. You need your first few items, and if you get to a point where you just get to kite around the enemy team, well, you're usually finding yourself in quite a good situation then.
Cutting around the enemy team is going to be a little bit difficult when they've got so many threats running towards. Of course, the Viego, not necessarily the most mobile without a few resets, but up on the top side, Szygenda on the Akali is going to be very speedy, very hard to break down. Obsessed moving in towards Skeens, though, looking to catch out Viego, who's actually gone into the Shroud, stealing away the whole Wolf camp. Actually might chase forward, trying to fear him away, and will scare him off as Vex goes low. But meanwhile, in the bot side, there's going to be another fight taking on as Prime goes low. As you said, they're going to try and hook in the Nautilus, take him low, and maybe even shoot him down. The flash over the wall will see Prime to safety as Jeska looking towards Kinetic. Both junglers are moving here, but Skeens is on the retreat from the get-go as Prime manages to survive.
That was almost so well played from Jeska, realizing he might not have to flash over the wall, can just wait to land the Calibrum. He does that, but Prime, he has to shield back up. Obsessed now is back here. Vitality, there's no reason for them to overstep their welcome here. They are having a slow push coming into them. They should just be chilling now.
It looks like they're doing just that. Not going to overextend. Jungler reset, support follows, and Alpha Jack, Troll, and Jeskla, they can just hang around and pick up that farm. But as we said in the top side, Pride versus Szygenda on Gnar versus Akali. What are we expecting up here?
Well, it's a matchup that gets really explosive, and it's a matchup that really just begins once they reach level 6. It's fine when Pride has Mechanol, but as soon as that is on cooldown, he has to be so careful of whenever Szygenda is diving in. And I think Szygenda right now, he's just playing for that level 6 out of the blue, so he can surprise Pride when he has to push, because Szygenda will hit level 6 first in this matchup.
Which is what he's looking to do in the next wave or so. Prime on the roam on the Nautilus, of course, supports. Love getting around and seeing the sights. Diplex.
He's level 3.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I don't favor him in the 1v1. He's been watching Kasing a little bit too closely, perhaps, as he runs back towards his team. Special and Obsessed are there in support. As Diplex will find support himself. Jack, Troll, and Skeens are both in the neighborhood, just clearing out some vision.
Yeah, so they have the mid lane pushed in. That allows Diplex to team up with Skeens to get some vision. Stun.
Oh, it's fleeing, and the stun comes through. The minion wave, a lot of damage going down onto the Syndra, but Special won't fall this time around as he's able just to farm up this wave.
And Diplex did hit that ultimate, but he had his abilities on cooldown, and Szygenda, I'm gonna hold my tongue just a little bit, but it's fine. Yeah, Diplex had his abilities on cooldown, and even then, he had no mana.
Pride stepping forward, gets the Gnar into the wall, the wallop, the boulder, the kill for Pride.
And just like that, they were emoting at each other. Szygenda, we hyped him up so much today, but Pride gets the better end of that matchup. And it's what we said, the matchup is fine when you have Mechanol. It's when you don't have it that you need to be careful. And Szygenda, he did not respect Pride there.
Not at all, and Pride showing that disrespect costly as he picks up the solo kill, and now Obsessed in the wings. Vision has been cleared away, so Vitality B probably know he's there, but let's have another look at this 1v1.
Yeah, and it's just, again, I don't know how they got to this kind of HP beforehand. He might have looked for a trade that was unfavorable, but you get hit by the Boldatus, they're absolutely illegal. That allows Pride to flash forward, and remember, Szygenda on Akali, you go TP and Ignite, so he does not have a follow-up flash to get out of the situation.
And that is going to be a very sad Akali, because now the Gnar picking up that kill, got the Hex Drinker. So going to be dealing with that poke a little bit better, and still throwing out the boomerangs left, right, and center as Obsessed hanging around. The Rift Herald spawning up in 30 seconds. Time wants to be able to make sure that he can get there ASAP with priority in mid and top.
Yeah, and no vision right now from Szygenda. Mid lane's missing as well, so even if he wanted to try and punish him, Mini-Gnar that is pushing on his turret, he wouldn't be able to do so because there could be a Nocturne right behind him. There could be a Syndra up there as well. So Szygenda, he's just going to be forced to get poked while he's trying to get these resources right now, trying to find the farm. And Pride just genuinely playing the matchup better right now.
Nice stun from Special, putting a bit of damage down into Diplex, but he's going to follow through. There's so much support hanging around behind Special. He's going to be nowhere near threatened as Obsessed started up the objective as we talked about, and Special's going to move up, grab some snacks, and might even help. Nope, not going to help him out. Just going to grab the stacks and leave.
Yeah, but it's perfect because you have top lane pushed in, you have mid lane pushed in, you know there's no one contesting because you see Jack Troll on the bot side as well, so Vitality B that just forfeited the Rift Herald to try and cross map on the bot side instead.
Skeens is going to try and make something happen down here. They know that this Rift Herald's going down. 2 plates already secured, a third in the offing for Vitality B down here. And the bot lane is certainly going their way right now. Skeens unwilling or unable to make any plays happen as another wave may just crash.
Yeah, Zygenda, he was forced to back as well to too much of a beating on the top side. On the bot side. Oh, the pink ward could drop here. I'm not sure about this one.
Dragged back in. A nice lantern and the heal. We'll see Yeskla out, but that was very, very close.
And so unnecessary as well. It was, I don't know if it's luck or skill that he managed to crest lantern after the pink ward came down, but that was just so greedy to get that played. And you expend your heal out of that while no summoner spells were burned from the side of Aatrox Spandau's bot lane.
Jack Troll with the hook that goes over the wall, the flay, the box, the damage, the kill will be secured by Skeens. As, hey, we made it work.
Yeah, they finally get a nice hook there. Would actually have loved the Kinetic walked into the wall and tried to dive to the Thresh instead of dying to the jungler here instead. But either way, great pickup from Vitality, and they're now able to utilize more of their control towards the bot side. I think, though, they might just go for one plate and then reset, or just reset, because they haven't been back in a while, and yeah, there you have it.
Let's see what Jessica can pick up from that back, but let's have another look at this play.
Yeah, I mean, it's just as easy as it can get. Kinetic is spotted out on Vision. Skeens is around the area, and yeah, there's not much more to the situation. It's just greedy pathing from the side of the Aatrox bot, Spandau bot lane, and Jack Troll, he punishes immediately.
I mean, I think that Kinetic might have been trying to go towards that box, you know. I think he might have been trying to dive to the Thresh, but was unable to take that last step and giving the kill over to the much more reasonable Skeens, who's going to be happy to grab his first on the Viego, which is a champion that can do a lot of work moving forward in the game. You get one reset, you get one kill in a fight. Things can go very badly for your opposition very quickly.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's really when the first items start coming through from Vitality as well that they start moving their pieces around, you know. I want to see Skeens and Diplex teams up, especially once Diplex gets to a position where he can push in the Syndra and then get some space to move around with. Drake will be spawning in 1 minute. You can see right now Skeens is clearing out his topside camps, so they'll be down when the Drake spawns, and he can utilize all his pressure and attention down towards that bot side.
We might have a bit of a fight in the mid lane though. Diplex dodging away. It's going to be the hook onto Nautilus. Not the priority target as Skeens on the side. It's going to be called out by Pride. The Paranoid Throne. And here comes Locked on the damage. The near side is so good from Obsess as he picks up the kill onto Viego.
Yeah, and the Heartbreak is still down from Skeens. You can see it's coming off cooldown just now. And just before Drake, little bit disastrous, but he should still be able to make it forward. Low death timers, 5 seconds on Skeen now. Should be able to run out with Home Guards and join the rest of his team in just a bit. Prime might get caught here.
Prime gonna have to take the anchor, dodges away from Diplex's ultimate. They've got Pride on the top side, no teleport. Obsess up there as well. Dragon spawning up. Coming through. Jack Troll actually in a little bit of trouble. The ultimate actually being burnt by Pride Special. Gonna unleash power onto the Thresh, but he's gonna get the knockback in with the box put up. Diplex needs to be careful, but the damage is there from Yeskla as they secure the kill.
Yeah, so that should be the second Drake going over to the favor of Vitality B now as well. Overstay their welcome just a little bit, and with Skeets coming through from, well, it's not reset, it was him dying. They're just able to pick up the fight.
Skeets is gonna be able to pick up this dragon as well. There's no one making any moves from Aatrox Spandau to try and contest this one, so the Hextech Drake will fall. Skeens just gonna spike that one away. Final dragon of the day will be the Mountain Soul that we can see on your screens, and about 1.5 minutes left on plate. Small gold lead has been accrued by Vitality B throughout the course of this game. It looks like Aatrox Spandau are going to try and fix that a little bit in the mid lane with the Rift Herald being dropped.
It's more like a setup play this time around because you're not going to get all 5 plates and you don't really need the attentions to do so. It's more like if you can get the second Rift Herald afterwards as well, you just have a freebie on the mid turret now.
Special had to flash away, but did manage to get 3 plates on that one, so a decent amount of gold going into the pocket of the mid laner here. And of course, Special, one of those players that you definitely want to give cash to, even if he's not a champion like the Syndra. And when you've got the unleashed power with a couple of priority targets, taking away someone like the Aphelios in one fell swoop, or even the Akali, could be excellent.
Yeah, I'm looking at upsets down towards the spot side. It's a stack wave coming in, and his ultimate is almost off cooldown. So I think this is where Antrax banned out. They want to look for skirmishes. They want to look for vision control. Yeah, there you see it. They drop all the pink wards around, looking to see if they can catch someone out of position. For now, Vitality, though, they respect it. At least I say that.
He expected a little bit, you know, not showing their full attention, but moving back down towards that bot side. Obsessed special hanging around. And of course, Paranoia means that Obsessed can engage from a pretty far away distance, but all of the CC that follows up from the Nocturne does take a little bit of time to come through, so he's going to need support in a situation that isn't 1v1. Shijen just teleporting back up towards that top side. Top lane has been pretty quiet as Jesper moving forward, gets the root. The cleanse is utilized by Kinetic to get him away.
Yeah, it's the gun rotation we talked about in Champ Select. The fact that when you have the Gravitum, you can just dash forward, try and get a pick onto Kinetic. On the Seri, of course. Had the cleanse was expended. Next time around, might not be so lucky. Pride again. Hold my breath every time I see Pride dashes forward.
I have the great fear whenever I see Pride on my screen. I'm trying to take a drink and I'm like, nope, no, it's going to engage again. But
this is not a good time.
It's like, no, please, I'm thirsty. But Pride this time around doesn't manage to land too much and is forced to back away. But we have ourselves a little bit of a quiet time as Diplex clearing out this mid lane. Vex sitting very comfortably on the same amount of farm as the lane opponent special. And this game, in a bit of a slower burner.
It's more like they're looking for ways to attack. Eintrax, you're gonna have to take over. I need water now as well.
This is where Pride engages, that's how you know, but Vitality B are just moving into the jungle, trying to get a little bit of vision down, as Special, again, he's going to be the one that clearing out the mid lane wave. Nothing to fight over truly in terms of neutral objectives. The Rift Herald will be up on the map. It has actually just spawned onto the map, so might be looking to move towards that one as Jesper is going to break down this bottom tower for Vitality B. First tower of the game actually going to be secured. A nice chunk of gold for the Aphelios.
And with the priority they've gained for themselves the cross map instead, Eintrax banned out, they should just be able to pick up the Rift Herald. Unless that Vitality really wants to fight it, they are posturing as if they're looking for a pick. But I really don't think they have any business trying to do this.
No, I'm not entirely sure. Eintrax banned out. It's 2v4. They're coming on through, though. The damage is big. Gender on the backside looking towards Obsessed. The Rift Herald is spawned. The eye is on the floor. But who's going to be able to pick it up? They're looking to try and get onto the Akali first. It goes low. Will be deleted in the end. Double kill for Pride as he scraps forward and grabs himself the Rift Herald eye as well.
What a cocky decision making from Vitality. You're 5 versus 4. You're not first in the Rift Herald either. You don't have the vision control. And quite frankly, you're just walking into a losing play there.
And the Rift Herald going down to Pride as well is going to be great for him on the split push. But let's have another look at the fight. So I don't really understand what Vitality B's plan was.
Skill checking. It was like, we're better than our opponent, let's just try and beat them here. But the CC setup is just there immediately. Segunda, when he jumps in, yes, he does get one. But what's the exit plan here? There's no way of getting out. Jack Troll doesn't have the lantern at the moment. Even Skeens has just dipped out and said, peace, brothers, we're not doing this. Little bit interesting. But I guess you got a kill on Segunda, so maybe that means something later in this outlane.
This is true, up against Pride, who's got 3 kills in the Trinity Force, so...
Yeah, I'm full copium on that one, by the way. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, I mean, you are right, and maybe he's going to be in a side lane against Syndra if Eintrax Bandau do their lane assignments very wrong, I guess.
But so far, Pride is having a great time up against Segunda. We highlighted the top side of the matchup as well. It's been going very well. Moving in towards this Drake, it would be the third Drake for Vitality. Not really in a position for it just yet. Segunda's TP is coming off cooldown. It's just 5 seconds or thereabout. And yeah, there we have it.
Yeah, going to be utilized immediately as Eintrax Bandau moving down river. Want to contest this one. Rift Herald is actually going to be blown mid and Diplex is there to clear, but it looks like Eintrax Bandau are going to give this one away. They're happy giving Vitality B a third dragon, it would appear, as they're just going to open up the map a little bit further, get one charge. But now members of Vitality B are looking potentially to collapse. But the Eintrax Bandau, they're all together. The charge comes through, the second tower goes down, and now they're going to try and escape towards the top side. But will they be able to do so? Vitality B are shadowing them. It doesn't look like they'll be able to get anything. 2 towers for Dragon.
Jack
Is
Troll.
that worth? Ooh, actually,
I don't think it's fine.
Obsessed in a lot of trouble. Needs to be careful. They're ebbing and flowing. Prime gets the engage though. The root, the paranoia, potentially for the disengager special, unloads onto Skeens. The damage is there. Kinetic tried to get another one going, but wasn't able to. One kill for a lot of resources. As Agenda moving around the side, they're looking for Prime, but Pride is there. Names are similar. Easy mistake to make. Moves to special and tries to get the damage down into the Shroud as Jack Troll lands the hook, but can't find too much as Jesker takes down special. Kinetic on the back, completely untouched though on the Zeri. You can't afford to let him stand as Diplex moving towards Pride Obsessed is still there in the wings. Disastrous fight for Vitality B.
Yeah, they completely overstayed their welcome so much. The Pride even got his Mechanar back up again, and what a great sequence of event from Eintracht Spandau. They get 2 mid lane turrets and they win the fight afterwards. They'll probably even be able to pick up this topside turret.
They're going to be able to grab that one solo, but Vitality B, past few moments, have been falling by the wayside. Spandau playing exceptionally well. Kinetic gonna have to play exceptionally well to get away from Skeens here in the 1v1. The teleport's coming through, but will Kinetic be able to get towards it? The ultimate comes down. Kinetic dancing away, actually gonna turn the tables, grab the kill, the spree for Zeri.
And it's falling apart from the side of Vitality. Even Skeens in the 1v1 scenario is getting outplayed by Kinetic. But let's take it slow. Let's have a replay at that again. Initially, it's Jack Troll. Once again, Vitality, they're just not on the same page. You have your 2 solo laners in the mid lane trying to clear up the waves. And when the Nocturne ultimate comes through, they can't walk forward because they don't know what they're walking into because of the paranoia. Zigenda then initially finds a really good Shuriken that also dodges out on the scatter. And this is where the fight becomes a little bit too interesting. Diplex is finally able to join it up here, but he's not in a position where you can just go ahead and get a reset. The fact that Offset lit, the fact that Kinetic stays on touch, that's the big winning moment for Eintracht Spandau in this fight.
Now, Kinetic's found his way to a few kills, finds one more at the end of that play as well. And Zeri suddenly online, grabs the Trinity Force, and you can look at the gold lead between the two carries. Jesker actually still holding on to 500 extra gold, which is testament to that 20 farm, and of course the Aphelios having a few kills to his name as well.
And once again, look at the top lane gap from Pride right now. Look at the gold deficit that he's been able to build up here. Remember, Pride, it's not really a name that people has been mentioning much, but he was the finalist at the European Masters just half a year ago. This guy is still shining in his career. He's still making moves, and he's showing it when he's going up against former LEC talent like Zigenda.
And this is one of the amazing things about the Amazon European Masters, is that you come through as a player that's lesser known, but you play against these huge names. And if you can prove yourself, proving yourself in your region is all well and good, especially against a lot of the talent that you have in places like the Prime League. When you're coming up against recognizable names and beating them, especially getting hooked by Jack Troll, needs to be a little bit careful. But as I say, when you're beating players with such recognizable names, that's only a good thing for you.
Oh yeah, and Eintracht Spandau now playing calm, have a few recognizable names themselves as well, with Offset and Special. Offset been playing particularly well on the Nocturne as well. With the vision control they've gathered themselves, they are going to be starting up the Baron, but the vision control is not good enough to stop Vitality from moving away here, but they will have the paranoia to make everything go dark for Vitality.
Yeah, they might just turn off the lights to prevent any kind of steal as Aphelios actually going to throw it through. The team fight might kick off though. Shenda on the side, the ultimate throwing on Nautilus. Eintracht Spandau actually going to let this one reset. Shenda diving into the mix. Skis get stunned up and both go down. The Baron's actually only at 6k health right now, so they're going to try and get it before it fully resets. Will be able to do so, but Jesker going to put some damage down. Jack Troll and Jitlex in the wings, but no jungler, no Akali. Means that the team from the Prime League may be able to secure this one. Hook, line, and sinker. Vec gonna move on forward. Can they secure it though? Yes, they're getting a lot of damage down. The Baron is secured by Eintracht Spandau, but they might lose all the members. Pride in back a bit, waiting for the hop to come up. Diplex is gonna go towards Kinetic, who does manage to get over the wall though. Special on the side, getting a bit of poke down. Kinetic is still there. This fight is on a razor's edge as Pride flashes over the wall, throws a boulder back, but gets hit by the Vex. It looks like Eintracht Spandau are going to cut their losses and leave 3 members with Baron.
Yeah, 2 for 2. Baron going over to the side of Eintracht Spandau. It is still worth Pride. Can you get out of this one? Baron empowered recall. Will they spot him?
He's out.
Oh, they're not checking him. I don't know if the resets are going to be good enough though, because Soul has spawned. And I don't know if we can stay in this replay, but we'll have to take a look at it quite quickly. In the end, Paranoia comes through. They make the turn, and Zigenda and the rest of the company, they dive in, but only as 2 people. And because of that, they're just able to blow them up immediately.
Watch the bottom of my screen just to make sure no big fight.
Yeah, I'm looking there as well.
As we will come out of the replay as members of Eintracht Spandau have taken control of the river and are maybe looking towards grabbing the dragon very, very shortly. One mounted dragon at the 23-minute mark is not going to pay massive dividends, but it's the denial of the soul from Vitality B that they'll be most happy with.
Yeah, most certainly. Vitality, at the same time, they can take a little bit of a breather if they want to try and turn towards the scaling aspect of their champions. Well, then they at least have the first 3 champions, so it's going to take a while before Enter Expandal will get to that 4th soul. Unfortunately, stacking up on Mountain, especially when you have a few tanky champions like Nocturne will opt into, like the Nautilus, and of course like the Meganar, getting those extra percentage will actually do its dividends the more they stack it off.
I'm very interested as well to see where... Well, actually, we're going to have to hold that point, though, because the damage coming on through a lot onto Special. Going to be deleted immediately. Szygenda moving towards Pride, but he's going to be able to take the Lantern, the hook, in fact, away as Pride takes down a tower, looking to push in towards potentially the inhibitor, but Szygenda is there too quickly with support, so everyone else backs off.
They get 1 pick on Special. Crucially, no shutdown, though. It does stop the tempo a little bit of the Baron push that Enter Expandal tried to make. And I like the setup initially. They're trying to play on 2 lanes, but little bit of an overextension from Special, and because of that, Vitality, they punish immediately. So now they get put in a position where they can try and push out the lanes a little bit. They can try and layer their vision, defensive vision out further out on the map, but I think that's really going to be all Vitality can get. They're still going to be playing on the back foot as soon as Enter Expandal is back with their full roster.
I mean, this Baron was secured. It was secured onto several members, but not 5. Spandau managed to get 1 tower with it so far, looking towards that top one, the only one outside the base. Breaking everything outside the base, of course, is a fine first Baron, but Spandau maybe would be hoping for a little bit more.
Oh yeah, most certainly. But now they're still in a position where they can take over the red side jungle. Camps have spawned. They're playing on a top side wave as well. If they want to use it as a little bit of an exit objective, red buff is going to be spawning in less than 1 minute as well. Vitality B, they're all posturing up here as well. So again, that's making their way up. But I think this tier 2 turret, it will just fall.
Yeah, going to be secured. The Baron is gone, but the tower will fall. We'll count that towards the Baron play because we're generous like that. Everything outside the base is gone. And it's just a case of breaking the next one open. Inhibitors will be the focus. But Vitality B, they've shown a couple of times that their team fighting isn't bad. They've got some tools. Another couple like that, maybe around the dragon in 2.5 minutes.
Oh yeah, and I think they'll just be able to play for that as an objective. So far though, they'll have to open up the map a little bit more as well. I think that they need to set up for playing on 2 waves again. They'll probably start doing it down towards the bot side just because that'll be the next objective that they'll try and threat. But make no mistake, timers between the 2 next objectives are incredibly close to each other. So if one team gets caught off guard on the other side of the map, the other will just rush the opposite end. So Baron, Drake, both spawning in 2 minutes now.
Just keeping my eyes on if there's anyone out of position, if there's potential fight. The box is going to have to be blown by Jack Troll. Not the hugest tool, but definitely one they would have preferred to have.
What we call a yellow star in the industry. So get now, you shopping? Hello?
I don't know about that one. That's what we call taking half health for no reason in the industry. It's a bit of a mouthful, but we make it work. Pride moving forward, throwing boomerangs, not landing it this time. Fortunately, that mistake won't cost too much because Vitality B have nothing to fight over for the next 1.5 minutes or so, but it does give Spandau more time to gain even more vision control.
Oh yeah, and they are playing on those 2 lanes that we talked about now. Special, just slow pushing a wave up towards the top side. You want to sync it with the wave that's coming in the mid lane right now. So you kind of want to wait for that to be the opportunity. Special doesn't care about that though. Just push it in immediately. Mid wave not coming in before now. So that means Szygenda will be able to push in the top side or at least clear the wave. Now Jeskler will be able to take care of that on the mid lane as well. And the rest of the members right now are just still playing up towards their vision control around that Baron. But Vitality, they don't have to face anything just yet. There's still 40 seconds on that Baron before it spawns. But meanwhile, look at the rotation from Enter Expandal. They've put their attention down towards the bot side of the map instead.
I'm just looking to shield Pride, who is moving up the bot lane with a quite chunky wave. Going to get a little bit of poke damage down. You've got to imagine, but nothing more as Jeskler, Jack Troll, and Diplex are all going to respond to the play. Kinetic doesn't want to overextend and get any poke down onto that mid lane inhibitor tower. Going for the reset. 20 seconds before Baron spawns up, and it looks like they want to be there with a couple of extra items.
Oh yeah, and you can see with the resets, vision control probably will be utilized as well. 2 null magic mantle comes through from Kinetic. No, he sells them, and 2 pink wards will be the response instead. which obviously will help greatly, and maximizing how much of the map you can control. And like just looking at the map state currently, it is still favoring in terms of vision Antrax Spandau. Vitality B, they'll be put in this position where they'll have to face check, and this will put them at a disadvantage, especially when you play into a Nocturne that can just turn out the lights for everyone.
Vitality B, though, have the inroad towards the Baron. The Dragon's going to spawn up as well. Spandau are the ones who are going to have to be walking up to the objective that has been claimed. It's actually been started up and goes down pretty quickly to Jeskla on the Aphelios. Antrax Spandau giving a lot of respect, though, slowly moving up towards the objective. Won't be able to find anyone. Agenda hanging around, going for a recall, but might find Obsess. Looks like they're just going to send Pride down towards that Dragon while the rest of them will ward away Vitality B.
Yeah, no vision currently for Vitality, so they don't know this. They think they're still 5 versus 5. They just don't know where the Gnar is, so they're not going to be looking for a fight. Pride should just be able to pick up the Drake for himself, while the rest of the members, I mean, they don't have to do anything. They're just gaining something of the map, but they are going in.
This is Brave 5v4 with no Gnar, but they're just looking to peel them away. Pride is going to reveal his location by securing the objective. Second one of the game for Antrax Spandau. And they could look to make another play. Baron's still on the menu potentially. With 5v5, it looks like a pick is more likely.
Oh yeah, and 2 items have been finished up from the side of the mid lane and top lane currently, but on the other side of the stick, you have Antrax Spandau, their solo laners, they're getting up towards 3, actually Pride, he's gearing up towards 4. So the goal differential right now between the teams, it's actually just so important moving into the next fight, especially since Baron, as you said, is on the cards.
It's going to be started up by Antrax Spandau, but they've walked over all the vision in the world, and that Vitality B are going to be able to quickly turn up to the party. 4 members here. Shizenda on the bot side does have teleports, so can get into the mix. Keep your eyes on the Akali. Actually going to be teleporting in now. 4,000 on the Baron. This is going to be very, very close. He's going to be able to secure it. Prime going for the engage. Though Obsess is dead. The jungler's gone. The smite spot there. Prime is going to be melted through as well. Prime gets a really nice stun down as Skeen survives. Goes into Nautilus swamp. This could be the fight that Vitality be needed as they take down more members. They haven't lost anyone yet as they rip apart Gnar. He goes into Guardian Angel, but he's 1v5. There's nowhere to run. He's going to be removed, at least by his lane opponent. Vitality B take the perfect fight.
What have I just witnessed? That throw from Antrax Spandau. Obsess got so low, just taking up the Baron. And finally, the dogpiling composition of Vitality B, they start making sense. They get the freezes off Skeen despite a good Gnar ultimate for Pride, and they just clean it up.
And for Vitality B, Baron on 5. That is a huge swing of momentum. They have a lot of work to do, but they can start it up like this. This fight is insane.
How does he get that? No, it's just from the Baron, and then the ultimate comes through with the flamethrower. They get split immediately. Prime goes in all by his lonesome, and while it's a great Now ultimate, they're not able to lay out the damage. When Pride jumps out from the Pride, the hook actually connects to Kinetic instead, and that just seals the fight immediately. Kinetic had been the one person that Vitality B could never get access to. This time around, though, he's found in the middle of the fight, and it's just over.
Vitality B have only taken a couple of towers. This mid lane one has held stalwart, but maybe not for long as Jeskla burns through it. Members of Antrax Spandau are hanging around in the wings, but they are a little outnumbered as Special is going to be slow to the party. However, Akali on the top side, no more teleport, remember, because it was blown on that very effective Baron play. What do Vitality B do here? What can they gain with this Baron?
I mean, they can play towards the side lane, they can play towards the 2 lanes that we have just seen Antrax Spandau play for instead. But the problem for Zugenda is that you're playing against Nocturne, right? So vision control about the lanes you're playing for, it needs to be key. And for that, I think Vitality, they're actually going to have to skirmish for this extra vision. So I don't think they'll be able to just completely take over the map in the same fashion we saw Antrax Spandau did it, because that composition on Vitality has a few other limitations against Antrax Spandau's composition. So it's about finding that skirmish. It's about baiting your enemy into an unfavorable fight where they're not ready for it. But so far, Antrax, they're not biting.
Vitality B. Dragon's up at 1.5 minutes, and if they can get a fight like that around that objective, gives them a soul. Baron is temporary, Dragon is forever, is what they say. The shield will be so useful. And taking down members like Obsess, who honestly on the Nocturne, the ultimates have been okay, but hasn't really convinced me with the pick.
Not fully though, but there is still time left of the game to make it work.
True.
Pride right now on the top side. pushing in a bigger wave. He does still have the teleport, so he'll be able to join in his teammates if they want to. Vitality on the other side, they cross-map, but they still have the Baron though, so they should be able to push it faster. So again, they're going up towards that top side. One member, two members backing as well, because the mid lane is under attack. Let's have a look at how this is going to unfold.
Yeah, we have to see what Akali can do against Pride on his lonesome, not big. Just came out of Mega Gnar. Meaning that he's going to have to build up his rage before he becomes a true monster once again. But Vitality B quickly sweep across the top of mid lane, clear out those minion waves before the towers take a scratch. And then the bot side might be just able to gain a natural bot lane tower.
One cannon is having some issues getting to it. Oh, there you go, buddy. Finally take it down. In the mid lane, though, there's going to be control because that, you said, 30 seconds. Soul potentially on the cards for Vitality B. For Antrag, that could just be their sole point. But nonetheless, this is not an objective that you're looking to give up. This could be the final fight we're gearing up towards.
This could be the game-winning fight. Agenda hanging around in Pixel Brush, looking towards Prime, gets a lot of damage on Nautilus, but then turns attention towards Special. There's the Paranoid teleport coming in from Pride. He wants to join up with the rest of his team. It'll be a 5v5 when this fight resumes. As Agenda diving away. The Dragon is about to find his way onto the Rift and will very quickly be slain. You've got to imagine that both these teams want to take him down, but then look at the side though. He's hiding. Diplex looking for the flank. If he can find something onto Special or onto Kinetic, even more prioritized, and maybe they will be able to win this fight. Vex is not there, but he's moving forward now. Pride
he goes.
knocking Agenda back in. Look at Diplex on the side and finding Special. Kinetic untouched though as Vex gets big but goes home in a body bag. As members of Idrax Band now moving forward, they have lost Pride though. They've lost another. The fight is not going their way. The Prime League stepping forward. Kinetic untouched. He's the only one who's feeling healthy enough to continue this exchange. But now members 4 from Vitality are going to step up. There are 2 smites available. Schemes is there. So it's
have hold again.
Agenda looking at the side, looking towards Kinetic, half health, but now he's going to dive onto Obsess. He's going to get caught up immediately. It's going to be feared and sent backwards, but survives by ulting away. Schemes needs to be a little bit careful. Kinetic even more so, as he's going to get rooted up. They're moving towards Schemes, gets the assassination, and now becomes Zeri, taking down Obsess. Prime goes the same way, and it's just like that. Dragon Soul, Vitality B.
Incredible sequence in that fight. In the end, it's Vitality that takes it out through the long, extended skirmish. So long that Agenda had the ultimate again on the Akali. Holy moly, I can't believe so few members fell from Vitality. Kinetic, he was just not able to let the damage stick. And there's too many threats on Vitality, and they pick up the soul finally.
Let's have another look at this fight, because it's Spandau who move into the Dragon initially, and it looks okay, but the Vex flank does wonders.
It does, because it's not only about killing one, it's about splitting up the team fight. Yes, Diplex goes down, but the fact you get to have resets on Schemes, the fact you can take away the front line that Kinetic have been so reliant on is so incredibly huge in this team fight. So again, then make the calls, guys, I'm gonna go for the flank, I have my ultimate in 5 seconds, I'm looking over the wall, and then when he goes in here, he buys so much time because of the Shroud. This allows Jeskla to walk up with the flamethrower, and when he sees his moment, flashes forward, has the Gravitum, and it's just so easy for Schemes to pick up the scraps of the fight afterwards.
Yeah, cleaning up with the reset and the ultimate, and then the Dragon going their way as well. Pride barreling down the mid lane, looking to try and get something, but can't find anything onto this mid lane tower. She's going to be getting back onto Shizenda, but not going to be able to find the damage. The wallop goes wide, but the tower takes a beating. Won't go down this time around, but things are looking better and better for Vitality B. Worse and worse. Irontrack Spandau, and
are they going to race this?
I think they might be going to. They're looking towards the mid lane, but I don't know who I prioritize here. Diplex is defending, so is Zenda, who's going to look to dive on forward potentially. Irontrack Spandau, you can see team members are returning from Vitality B. I think they'll be able to defend their Nexus.
Oh, but still, actually a big victory for Eintracht. They get the inhibitor here. And they get the rest of the members of Vitality to back off. Question is, can they continue with the chase?
Get out alive is the question, though. Pride goes to half health, just warding away Akali and Viego. Schemes and Surrender are able to move forward once again. As Vitality B, as a 5-stack, if they can look for a fight, they've won the last couple. This could be decisive. Special needs to be a little bit careful. Akali moving on the flanks. Agenda is looking stronger and stronger on the Akali as the game goes on, which makes a lot of sense. It looks like Spandau are just going to move away.
Yeah, they're cutting off the path into the mid lane, so they get one extra wave there for free. That'll have to be picked up either on the tower or just leave it to the tower alone. This allows Vitality to get control around the Baron. They might just start it up. Perfect guns for Aphelios here. Calibrum and the chakrams. Jeskla might get really scary here.
Fast. Paranoia popped. Members of Vitality B wisely move away. But now the Paranoia is not available. Those tools have been blown. Vitality but the Fresh should be okay. Pride is moving forward though, gets caught out, stunned up. He hasn't got Mega yet. He finally goes large, but in the backline, Zenda is there, gets the kill onto Nautilus, and now Diplex is in retreat. He's getting as much damage down as he possibly can as the hook lands though. Jessica on the side is putting damage after damage down. Kinetic untouched, but will be the focus as Pride moves towards top side. Spandau lose 3 members, only 1 lost currently for Vitality B as Diplex teleports forward with the perfect flank. Takes down Zeri, and I think that might be it.
Yeah, they have the minions. Diplex, he found the grounding on Kinetic as well, so he's not able to stay alive. And with the minion wave coming in, surely Vitality should be able to pick up this victory.
It's just Pride on the defense, but they're focusing their attention towards the first tower. It goes down. Jessica looking towards the second, burning it with the flamethrower. Infernum will help secure the win as Pride can do nothing but watch as his Nexus explodes. The comeback is complete as Vitality B take the win.
And I think this game actually delivered in terms of entertainment, in terms of game quality. There are things to work on, but we don't care about that. We were entertained throughout the entire way here in Vitality B. They bring in quite a comeback. And, you know, I think it's quite fitting to a team who's been known to not always show up when it matters. Being able to find calm and stability in the middle of the game where everything is falling apart, for you to find these fights and find the victory in the end, that is very telling of a team who's getting into top form as well, despite the slow early game.
Yeah, I mean, the slow early game is one way to put it, but sometimes the best teams are the teams that can make mistakes but can still take victories. You don't only win when you're at 100% because no team's always at 100%. So it's really great to see Vitality be able to complete the comeback and get a lot of work done. But let's have a look back at some of the big team fights and big plays that we saw from that game, because Unchecked Spandau, they fought very hard, and especially as you mentioned in the early to mid stages, they look favored.
Yeah, I think that actually Eintracht, they found the better team fights all the time. Vitality B, they really struggled finding out how they wanted to play this as a team. I think that was the main concerns I had with them. They fell apart individually in the laning phase, specifically Sigenda on that top side, and they weren't able to play through that snowball that we kind of tried to set up for them. Even when it looked good in fights like this at the beginning where Sigenda dodged it out on the scatter of the week and they can get a few kills, the fight still becomes so extended and they really struggle on finding the key member, which of course is Kinetic. Pride's Mechanized, Diplex not able to follow up the damage, and when Kinetic goes untouched, well, the fight is just won. The big turning point then was when they finally were able to take care of Kinetic, when they were finally able to find these team fights that benefited them. But it took so long for Vitality before they got to that point.
And I mean, you talk about Kinetic being the focus, but in the last couple of team fights, Zeri was just zoned away. It wasn't necessarily a case of killing her, it was removing her from threatening ranges. For Vitality B, Jeskla stepped up big on the Apheli, or something that we've seen from him time and time again. Damage is going so hard here, but on the PGM, Hexdragon is missing. From what I'm being told, is damage coming left, right, and center. As Kinetic and Special moving forward. Prime needs to be careful, but will be jumping away. And then we've got this final big team fight.
This is where it turns around. Like, this is where they finally find it. They're able to split up their opponents completely and with no frontline, and specifically with Skeens possessing the Nautilus, finding Kinetic with the hook. That's the big turning point. This is the fight where they finally get the gold from the kills to shutdowns, and they get the Baron. They're not put in a position where they take control over the map, but they're put in a position where they finally have enough room on the map to find flanks and Diplex around the neutral objectives, like the Dragon. And this was one of the big ones as well, where they're finally able to secure the Soul. Even after securing the Soul, though, they weren't looking convincing. They were still pushed back into their nexus. They're still pushed back into their base. But it's through the creativity, though, and it's through some of these clutch moments that they're able to outplay their opponents. Again, this ultimate coming back up, him eating over the wall, and then Jeskla, of course, flashing forward to get the rune down, followed up with Skeens afterwards. It felt like, as a team, they started out not being one. And then in this game, the further and further they started fighting, the more and more they learned how to really play this comp. So look great for Vitality in the late game, not so much in the early game. I think Pride really had to get this number. I think they fell apart at that first Rift Herald fight, if you remember back to it. And now we're just told that the Hex Dragon is missing,
Yes.
but that was also picked up as the second Drake, of course, from Vitality.
A lot of character development from Vitality B in this game, able to
Oh,
go
yeah.
from being a group of individuals to a team that were able to take out Eintracht Spandau, grabbing those 4 dragons, of course, the Baron as well. And I mean, a very, very impressive performance towards the end. They need to tighten up the screws a little bit in the early game, because if they lose too many early games like that against some other teams, potentially, it could be troublesome. But Spandau, one of the teams that people are talking a lot about going into this tournament, so being able to take the win off them, definitely promising.
Yeah, I think that they struggled a little bit after they found a lead to close out that game. And I think like it really came back down to when they were trying to play 2 lanes at one point, and then Special got caught off guard in the mid lane. They had a lot of moments where the tempo was stopped immediately, and it still kept them at a point where they're able to be in a gold lead, but it was never at a point where they're able to suddenly just exponentially grow it. Like they never got the inhibitor turrets, they never got that extra pressure, which would have really helped you when you got to the big objectives, like the last Drakes in the game and like the last Baron that we just saw. So I definitely think Eintracht Spandau, they were in a position where they could have won, but they just didn't have the capabilities to fulfill it.
And for me, that's been one of the big differences between the top teams. We know the big names in this tournament. We know which teams are being touted as the potential candidates for top 4 finals winning it. The teams in that group that have struggled a little bit, the ones that don't necessarily know how to close out as effectively, you look at the likes of Fnatic TQ, you look at Spandau in this game, that's where they're falling behind. And then you've got the teams that are ruthless with their closing out. Vitality B, for example, X7 as well. These are the teams that are looking very scary. We've got the standings, of course. Vitality B go top of their group solo after that last win, with Rogue picking up their first win as well. X7 also undefeated LDLC in Group D, 3-0 after the first round robin.
Yeah, and I think there is some expected results here, but there's also a lot of unexpected results coming through here. I think a lot of people probably expected a little bit more of the LVP second seed of Bisons coming into this one, especially Carmine Corp as well, just being the 1-1. But it's a super difficult group. And, you know, a lot of people were talking about the groups coming in. They're probably one of the most balanced group that we've had in the European Masters. We had it last year as well. So I think the games we've had so far, they've just been great entertainment.
I mean, Group C remains untouched because it's so beautiful with that 1-1 standing across the board, but that will all change tomorrow as we've got another set of awesome matches to round out the first round robin. Eintracht Spandau back on the Rift, first game tomorrow, so get to bed early tonight, lads. We've got Ago Rogue at 5 p.m. X7 taking on Team Phantasma, followed by Bifrost up against Esker, and the second half of the day, a lot of excitement there as well.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm looking towards that last game again, Fnatic Team Queso against BDS Academy. Fnatic looking for a little bit of redemption after not being able to close out their one loss in that game. And then BDS, of course, also falling to a 1-1 with one of the teams that was so incredibly hyped up coming in. So it's definitely something to look forward to. And as always, times are not completely fixed. The games just go through. So drop a follow on the Twitch channel, of course, to stay notified when your favorite game is starting.
I mean, you should be watching all 6 games, really. So
that's
it
what
shouldn't
we're
matter
doing.
Exactly where they kick off, because we're going to be sitting here watching all of them. So you should too. And of course, there's plenty of action across the entire day. And a lot of these teams, when you're in the group stages, you need to be picking up wins as much as possible. Because as you mentioned, while we don't love the idea that one best of one can be the decider of who goes through and who goes home, that's the reality of double round robin in such small groups, and every game counts.
Oh yeah, and tomorrow is just it really just set the stakes every time. At best of one, the teams has to come through with their best. The scrim metas are so different for all of them because the scrims are completely different. Like all the LFL teams might be scrimming each other because they're in 4 different groups, so they're developing some of their own. We see the Misfortune come through from a few. Soraka today from X7. Like lots of different metas are developing from these teams, and it just makes every game so exciting to watch.
I guess the last thing I'm going to ask you, well, at the end of the day, it's been a long day here of Amazon European Masters. What's been your highlight of the day?
Oh, I think it's just watching X7 to me because, you know, I get to have my NLC pride coming through. I get to be like, hey, 2 seeds. Interesting. But, you know, we'll see what happens in the future. I love seeing the new entertaining ways. I love seeing the Soraka. I love seeing the extended team fights. Just all in all, I think a lot of teams are delivering today.
Yeah, a lot of teams really did step up, and we're going to have plenty more action tomorrow. That is all we've got time for here at the Amazon European Masters. So for myself, Gorborg, everyone behind the scenes, and of course, Initializer Lymera for opening the day for us. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.